Hey everybody, this is Mike from Sons of a Pitch Soccer Podcast, bringing you a new tradition that we're going to start here on our YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us. This is a new venture. We're starting up the YouTube channel and trying to bring more content to you guys because we are running out of time on our weekly pod. So this session is going to be picks and predictions. Every single week, going into the weekend, I, Mike, will be bringing you and all of our listeners and viewers predictions for every single game on Saturday and Sunday. If you want to join the conversation, hit us up at SOP Soccer on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, or our website, www.sonsofapitchsoccer.com. Heck, if you want to email us, we've got email set up as well, podcast@sonsofapitchsoccer.com. Or if you want to hit me up by myself and give me heck for the picks that I made, mike@sonsofapitchsoccer.com. Now, let's get right into this. Every single week, I'm going to give you a breakdown of how I did. If you want to write them down, if you want to see how I did, great. If not, I'll let you know next week when I post for next week's games. Right into these games, starting out today, Saturday, at 3 o'clock Central Time, depending on where you are. The game time might be different. Seattle Sounders hosting the New England Revolution. This one should be a great game. You've got the Seattle Sounders, who are a playoff team in the West, doing well, not quite at the top, but they're firmly in that playoff position, going up against a really hot New England Revolution side, who started the season out extremely slow, made a couple signings, got themselves a new coach in Bruce Arena, and now they're starting to pick up results. In this game, my pick for this one is the Seattle Sounders to take all 3 points at home. I just can't see New England traveling cross-country and taking on Seattle at home, where they're very, very good, and coming out with a result. So that's my pick in that one. Next up, we've got the Columbus Crew hosting FC Cincinnati. This is the first Ohio Derby, the Hell Derby they're calling it or something on MLS Soccer. For me, the pick in this game is the Columbus Crew and FC Cincinnati will draw. Nobody gets bragging rights here. We're going to have to wait to the next one to see who gets the first W and the first full 3 points in this Ohio Derby. Next up in the slate of games is Toronto FC hosting Orlando City. This is two teams that are sitting just outside the playoff spots in the Eastern Conference. TFC starting to get it going a little bit with some new acquisitions. Orlando City just trying to pull it together after losing in the U.S. Open Cup semifinals to Atlanta and dropping out of that competition. A huge game in context when you're talking about the playoff picture in the East. This one at BMO Field in Toronto. My pick in this game, of course, I'm a homer. I got to go with my boys. TFC wins this one and takes all 3 points at BMO. I just can't see Toronto losing this game when they've got these new signings coming into the lineup. They've got Josie Altidore, who's fit and ready to play. Pozuelo. All these guys got rested up in the Canadian Championship. I think TFC can get this done, especially at home. If they don't look out, it's trouble time in Toronto. Greg Vanney might be out of a job by the end of the season. Next up, we've got Dallas hosting Minnesota United. Yes, that Minnesota United, who just won the semifinal of the U.S. Open Cup and will be going to Atlanta to play in the U.S. Open Cup final in a few weeks. This game, I got to go with the road team. My pick is Minnesota United. Minnesota is just on a roll right now. They keep getting points every single week. They're getting the job done. I just see them going down there and winning this ball game against Dallas, who has been up and down lately. Next game, Sporting Kansas City against Real Salt Lake. This one, two teams in the West. You've got a struggling Sporting Kansas City, an RSL side who you really don't know what to expect out of this side. Some games they're strong, some games they're not. In Sporting Kansas City, it makes a difference, but my pick in this one is Real Salt Lake to win over Sporting Kansas City. RSL is in that playoff picture, in that playoff conversation. I think Sporting Kansas City is letting the season ride out. They're just not getting it done this year, and I think that you'll see RSL come through and get the job done on the road. Next up, we've got the Chicago Fire at home hosting the Montreal Impact. Chicago Fire, great team on paper. You've heard us talk about the management issues, the team. What are they doing? Can they win? Why don't they win? They've got all this talent. And then you've got Montreal, a team who's in the playoff picture, but they were sitting as high as second and third, and now they're fumbling down towards the bottom of the top 7 in the East for that last playoff spot. And we just don't know what to expect out of Montreal Impact. Now, they did have that midweek victory against Cavalry FC of the CPL in the Canadian Championship. My pick in this one is Montreal will keep it going. They will get the road result, get the victory against Chicago, and Chicago's struggles just keep continuing. How Veljko Paunovic has a job, I'll never know. But that's my pick in this game. Second to last game on Saturday night, we've got the Colorado Rapids hosting the San Jose Earthquakes. Colorado, up and down. They've won a few games, they've lost a few games, they're getting draws, then they go and beat Montreal, who's an aspiring Eastern Conference playoff team, at home. This game's at home. San Jose has been playing extremely well. So, not much needs to be said about this one. I expect San Jose Earthquakes to get the job done. My pick, San Jose Earthquakes get the full 3 points at Colorado Rapids. The last game on Saturday night, Portland Timbers hosting the Vancouver Whitecaps in a Cascadia Cup clash. Two rivals, not quite as big a rivals as Portland and Seattle, but Portland and Vancouver, there's definitely a little bit of rivalry there and some bad blood. This one, I've got to go with the home team. My pick, the Portland Timbers. They will get the job done against a struggling Vancouver Whitecaps side. This team is really hurting right now. They cannot seem to get a result. Not to mention getting knocked out of the Canadian Championship by Cavalry FC, a CPL side. Portland has got to start getting all 3 points out of their home games. I think that this trend will continue, and they will get the 3 points at home. Now moving on to Sunday. We've got 4 games on Sunday. Should be an exciting Sunday worth of soccer. This one starts out with probably the best matchup in the Eastern Conference for this weekend. Atlanta United hosting New York City FC. So you've got Atlanta United. They're rolling in the U.S. Open Cup. They keep winning games. They seem to have turned that corner with Frank de Boer. And you've got New York City FC, who's coming off a good result midweek against Houston, getting that home victory 3-2. But this is a team who hasn't really lost a lot of games lately, although at home they've been pretty strong. Lately they've gotten a little bit cooler than they were to start the season off as far as losses go. But this one, I think we're going to see New York City go on the road. My pick in this one is a draw. I see Atlanta United giving up a late equalizer in this one to let New York City steal a point at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Next up, the Philadelphia Union hosting the Houston Dynamo. Philadelphia Union are just on top of the world right now. They're on top of the East. They just took care of DC United 5-1 in a huge victory between two teams in top of the Eastern Conference. My pick in this one, of course, the Philadelphia Union will get the job done at home against Houston. Philly wins this one. Look, there's no denying that Philly is on an emotional high. This team is a great team. They've gelled together. They play extremely well. I think you'll see them handle Houston fairly easily, a team that struggled on the road lately, other than going to Toronto and getting that victory there. But a team that's not really playing their best soccer as of right now. Next up, we've got a great one between DC United and the LA Galaxy. This one at Audi Field in DC should be a great, great game. I think with this one, I cannot separate the two sides. who's going to be better. In this one, my pick is a draw. I think LA Galaxy will get some type of result here on the road. They've been playing well as of late. DC United, not so much with that loss to Philadelphia last week. But I think Wayne Rooney's going to have a chip on his shoulder now that he's made the move back to England at the end of this season. So I think this one will end in a draw. The last game of the week on Sunday night is LAFC hosting New York Red Bulls. This one should be another great game. Possible MLS Cup preview. You never know. The Red Bulls are not quite the class of the East as of yet, like LAFC is the class of the West, but the Red Bulls are a great team. They might make a run in the playoffs. This should be a great, fantastic matchup. I'm really looking forward to this one. Now, for my pick, of course, I have to go with LAFC. LAFC is going to win this one. Hands down, at the bank. That team plays extremely well. LAFC is excited about their new signings. This team is just continuing to rise and continuing to get 3 points, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points. They will do so against the Red Bulls. And that's the wrap for all of the picks that I've made for this weekend. So I'm glad you've made it through. I look forward to speaking with you guys next week. We will also be back on Tuesday night recording our next episode of the podcast. Thanks for joining us here on YouTube. Please hit subscribe down below so you get notified when another video comes out. Hope you enjoy the content. Please let us know. If there's something that you want to see on YouTube, if there's something you want to hear on the podcast, let us know at SOP Soccer on Twitter, podcast at sonsofapitchsoccer.com through email. Thank you all for joining me. Let's hope those picks go well. We'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks.